Hello, my name is Chris Lemaire, and I'm one of the programmers at the American Cinematheque. We at the Cinematheque are thrilled to be partnering with the Goethe-Institut of Los Angeles on this 14th annual edition of German Currents Film Festival. In our exclusive selection on our virtual platform, we're very excited to be screening the amazing new film Sleep, and we have a special Q&A with the film's director and lead actor today. So let's welcome Michael Venus and Gro Swantje Kohlhof. Thank you both, Michael and Gro.
For having us.
It's great to see you both. And I wanted to start with a question for you, Michael. I just want to say Sleep is just such an incredibly ambitious film and really impressive as a feature film debut. So I was wondering if you could talk about what your initial thoughts were going into this project, and were you nervous, like embarking on such a film on a grand scale as your featured debut?
Yeah, yeah, I wasn't used doing cinematic work on that level, of course. So and the dimension of every step and every kind of things that were to do were bigger than I've ever had in my life, and I had to do a thousand decisions more than in short films or commercial work or music video work and so on. But I felt welcomed by all these more experienced people I met, and with the help of a fantastic, very harmonic crew and a very harmonic cast, it felt not wrong. And one of the greatest things I experienced was that it was okay how I direct, and it was okay how I am, that I don't have to pretend to be someone else, like, I don't know, like a teacher I had in my past, or I don't need to imitate an image of a director. I just had to be like I wanted to be. So, and that was very calming, and I felt very free to speak, to work, and to think. And so I was in an atmosphere which was very elaborated, with all the technical dimension that film has. I met very experienced people, and they taught me to express my vision, and they helped to realize that vision. And I lost my kind of nervousness. Is it the right word? I don't know. Nervousness.
Yeah.
I lost it quite early, and it made place for another feeling, and that was more a thrill. I can do that, and it's going to be something. But yeah, so it was a very good experience, and it was with the help of a lot of friends possible.
Well, Gro, I wanted to ask you just how you got involved with this film, and what was your initial reaction reading the script? How did that all come about?
I got involved way earlier than you normally would. Like normally you get the script or you do the audition, and then a year from then you shoot the movie. But I was involved like 5 years earlier because of our producer, Verena Gräfte-Höft. She produced a movie I was in, like kind of my debut movie called Nothing Bad Can Happen by Katrin Gebbe. And I did that when I was 17, and that's how I met Verena. And then years later, Verena and Micha decided to do the movie SCHLAF. And Verena was like, I know this girl, Gro, maybe you should meet her. And Micha watched the movie and he liked it. So we met at the Berlinale 5 or 6 years ago, something like that.
Very funny. Yeah.
So I read like so many different versions of the script also. Normally you read like maybe 1 or 2, and then the yellow pages when you change something on the day. But I feel like I read 6 or 7 different versions of our script, and I could actually like be part of the process and watch it grow and change and like find its own way, or find its own energy and tone. And that was very, very nice. And I felt very privileged to be to be involved at such an early stage, because normally you don't get that so much. And that also gave me like enough confidence to be like, oh no, let's change that. I want to do it like that. Can I like cut my own lines at that place? Because I felt like I knew the process so well, and I could watch Micha and Thomas work on the script so much. So the first time I read it, I just felt like something like a bit of a relief, because it's been a long time I read, especially like a female character that kind of spoke to me, or that was written so beautifully in her empowerment and how she sees the world, and that she's already in her power. She doesn't need anybody else to allow her to take up space or anything. She's confused and she's scared, and she has every right to be, but she knows who she is. And I really, really like that. And it's a bit sad that that doesn't happen too often. So when I read it, that was my first impression. I was like, oh, this could be nice, finally.
Well, off of that, I wanted to talk more about the script and ask Michael, you know, what was your initial idea for this story? And it's such a complex script. I imagine there must have been many, many versions of it. Can you talk a little bit about that process of crafting it with your co-writer?
Yeah, it was kind of an adventure trip, of course. And so when Thomas and I decided to write a film, we didn't decide it at the first place to make a horror film, but we wanted to write about something that confronts us and scares us. And at the beginning, it was more kind of a drama, a picture in our heads, which that film actually still is. So it's a mother-daughter drama, a drama of generations and so on. But but we didn't wanted to do a horror film. But then came Verena Gräfte-Höft, came from, I don't know, Sweden, and watched Let the Right One In, and she brought that combination of drama, art house, and horror on the desk. And at that moment, we knew that's a key. That's a key to bring some big topics and issues in a very fast way on point, and to get into the hidden spaces of ourselves, where the darkness is, and the hidden spaces in our society, in everything we're talking about, and that was the right decision. And so we researched a lot. What is horror? What is a horror film? And we detected a lot of things. We detected that we grew up with horror, reading the Grimm's fairy tales, for instance. So that's for most of the people in Germany. It's the first contact with fictional horror. They're so gruesome, and so many horror stories in it. And then I remembered my first horror film I've seen in the age of 11. And I remember that ambiguity, can you say that? That ambivalent feeling that you are scared and shocked, but you can't, you have to watch it. You don't want to miss it. And it was a very strong feeling. And so horror films are films of confrontation, not escapism. And it maybe it can create kind of a healing process, because in a theater you are in a safe space and can train to deal with all these issues that are so moving or shocking or offensive. And so we came to the horror, and at the end we had, I guess, 15 or 20 versions of the script, and the last big rewrite came with the location. So we found the location a couple of months before shooting, and then the location itself had a lot to tell, and it told us a lot of insights of the place. And it's all a real place. It's all quite realistic. It's in the Harz Mountains in the center of Germany, where a lot of the Grimm fairy tales came from, by the way. And there was that hidden in the TNT factory from the World War II, and it's a real place. The ruins you are seeing in the film are real, and the all the dark history now hidden in the woods and hidden on the ground happened there. So and the size of the hotel, we didn't want the script before we found that location. We had a quite smaller, more cuter Heimatfilm world in our mind, and then we what is Größenwahn? Is it supremacy? So it fits to that megalomanian thinking kind of thinking. Can you say that? I don't know. So so that empty big rooms where that cruel and visions are projected in, and that Kafkaesque atmosphere in that place, that is all kind of real, because that place is real. It's a lost place in the Harz Mountains. We could use like a studio with 42 sets in it, and to grab and to catch and to just to catch that atmosphere, and that's told us our story in a very new way, and but it freed that lucky guessing you have when you are writing on your desk at home, because after seeing that place, we knew how it looks like, and we instantly knew how to write a shooting script which is very precise. So,
well, I love that you brought up the locations in the hotel. I've seen it written about your movie that it people drawing comparisons to The Shining and the Overlook Hotel, which I can see with those big spacious rooms. It's really a remarkable place to shoot, and a lot of the eeriness comes from that, I think. And back to what you were saying about your just general approach to horror. I love that you don't rely on jump scares or on gore or on like gruesome things, but like real fears we face in our everyday lives. And I had a question for you, Gro. Were there personal fears that you drew on as you developed this role? Were there things that, fears that you have in your own life that you brought into it?
Well, that's a tricky question, because I guess that's not so much a decision. Like there was no point where I said, okay, I'm going to use that or that for this specific scene. But in the end of the day, it's always me doing it. It's my body and it's my brain, and I can't separate it. So it always happens at some point. It always happens. But also, funny enough, not only the specific horror scenes of you're in the forest and you hear creepy noises, or you wake up and you don't know where you are, but maybe you remember the scene when Mona is in the basement and she's like tied up and she has this washing cloth in her mouth, and she can't move, she can't breathe, and that's like a real fear for me. Not being feared of. I'm not scared of being tied up and kept in a bed, like that would suck, but it's not too realistic to happen. But the feeling of being muted completely, like every kind of expression is taken from you. You're not able to communicate, to scream, to breathe, to be heard, to do anything, and that's a really, really real fear for me, and I feel also for a lot of people right now. So that was a very real moment for me, I guess.
The fear of being buried alive really spoke to me in the end. Not to spoil, I'm sure our audience has seen the film by now. But are either of you actually afraid of sleeping? Michael, was that a real fear of yours?
Yeah. Oh, there's a. All right. There's a car outside. Not really. We researched on sleeping because we wanted to have that translucid dream language in it, coming from thinking about what is memory, and memory is sometimes very translucent too, and So and so we came to that dreaming to the dreaming language, and that in its script it comes from memory. And there's you know, I'm living in Weimar. That's a small town in Germany where the first German Republic was founded, where the Bauhaus was founded, and where Schiller and Goethe created the classical classic culture. Very important little town with a lot of nature around, and it's all in the shadow of Buchenwald. You know, and a friend of mine, he's a photographer. He's doing since 2 years, I guess. He every month he walks to that former concentration camp and makes photographs from that place. And most of the photographs are just pictures of a landscape where nothing's left to see what happens there. And that's kind of a metaphor for memory. You have to remember the past very actively to learn something for your future. And that sometimes it's tough work, and you have to dig deep into the ground. And so it's all combined with a lot of things, and there's always something sleeping, and you have to be awake, or when you sleep, then please sleep with eyes wide open. So you're vulnerable when you sleep, and that's can be very nice to give yourself into that state of you have to feel secure. If you're sleeping, you feel, or your brain feels secure, and sometimes it's a little bit bored and gets and creates funny dreams. But yeah, it's a lot of things, a lot of aspects around that small word sleep. So I don't know, maybe it's stuff for a 1 hour lecture.
It is. It is. Well, I want to talk about Sandra Hüller, who is just remarkable in this film. She plays your mother in the film Gro. Can you talk a little bit, Gro, about working with her? Oh, there's the famous photo too. Oh my.
That's Sandra.
There she is.
Can
you talk about?
She's watching over me at night.
Absolutely.
She and the rest of the creepy family.
Yeah, if you could talk about just working with her, and then also directing her, Michael, what was that kind of like to build the character from both of you?
Working with Sandra is the best, and it just made me very, very happy, because I obviously I knew her and I knew her work before, but I didn't only knew her from movies, but because she also does a lot of theater, and that's what I also do. So that was kind of, I don't know, important thing for me, because I knew her from the stage, and I knew like what an amazing actress she was. So it was very, very nice when we met, and like could also like bond over our theater background a bit. And I felt like that was really, that made it way easier to work with each other, because like theater people have sometimes when it comes to working, have another language with each other than people who only do movies. There's like another way of talking about things sometimes. And Sandra is just like a huge professional, and it's just like amazing watching the last scene in the movie where we're together, we had to shoot that on the second day or something, and she did that in one take. Because I ruined her makeup, because I hacked her the wrong way with the blood on the face, so it would have taken too much time to like redo anything, but she nailed it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Michael, anything to add? Directing her?
Yeah. So Sandra and I, we have a kind of a long history together. So I admired her as a young guy when she was in youth theater. Off theater. So in the age of 17, she was a rising legend as an actress, and then she and I admired her, and was a big fan of her before I met her during my first paid job at the theater in Basel, you know, in Switzerland. And we both are from Thuringia. It's a small state in Germany, and we have kind of a common sense of humor. And so it was 2004. It's a long time ago, and we always wanted to do something bigger together. And we made I think four smaller projects pro bono. Just so she was always supportive, but she's very tough to schedule because she's so big in Germany and in Europe. And so we are very glad that she made it. And she did it not because we are friends. She did it because it was something new for her. She always does projects. She wants to not do something a second time in the films. And the thing she does in Sleep is that stupor. She plays that stupor, you know, that stupor. Yeah. So it looks like it is and that's physically it was a kind of a great, what is it, Herausforderung, a great Herausforderung, a huge, it was very tough. Yeah, and it was a heavy challenge to play that stupor where your body is in a cramp. Can you say that? Krampf? What's the word?
Cramp.
Yeah, it's paralyzed. Everything is paralyzed. From every muscle is paralyzed, and she had to play that, and so she had to train a lot, and we had a lot of research, psychiatric research, and medicine, medical research to create that thing, which is your mind is awake, but you can't move. And when you're not get the treatment, you're dying because your muscles stop breathing. And that was unbelievable how she does it, and it was like a tough action scene after every take during that full body paralyzes. And so yeah, but it was fun too. So, and that's another thing. So it was very easy to work with her and to get that on that high level of performance. So yeah, a great colleague.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I just wanted to ask you both. I'm sure after seeing this film, the audience is going to want to know what's next for both of you. Are you returning to horror? What do you have planned?
Yeah. So there are some things maybe come up next time. So we are in a writing process of. I'm in a writing process of 4 projects, and but you can't talk a lot about it because it's just at the beginning. So we are in the middle of our promotional work for the German release of Sleep, which is the day after tomorrow. So it's very close, and
wow.
and we are not swimming in money, so we have a lot to do for to get it on a good promotion for that. But besides that, during COVID-19, we used COVID-19 to kick off some new projects, and maybe it's genre too, and maybe it's drama, maybe it's a mix of it all. I don't know. So we will see. It's a bit a secret now. Yeah.
And you, Gro?
Well, kind of the same, but mainly I'm in Munich because I'm an ensemble member of a big theater here. So that's kind of what I'm doing most of the time. And then I try to do a movie as often as I can, which isn't too easy to schedule, but every now and then it works out. But right now I just had a premiere with a play, which we now play in front of 50 people because more people aren't allowed in the room. It's kind of depressing actually, but I'm here trying to set up German culture scene to get my amazing ensemble colleagues. We try to stay open anyway and perform anyway for whoever wants to join. And it's not, it's a bit depressing right now. the situation of theaters and culture in Germany. It's very, very hard. And I'm like fortunate enough to be like a fixed ensemble member. I'm not a free artist for them. It's way, way harder right now.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you, Michael and Gro. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, and we're just so excited about Sleep. So we're so happy to include it. But yeah, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks a lot.